Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Laura and today, as you can see, I'm all by myself. My boyfriend Dean will not be joining us for today. I hope you guys will still like to see this video anyways. Today's video will be about some frequently asked questions about life in Japan and a little bit of a Q&A session about life in Japan then, mostly. I hope you guys like this kind of content, and if you do, please press the like button, write a comment down below, tell me what you thought, and kindly consider also subscribing. Yeah, so as you can see, today's background is a little bit different again. It's the same room I'm filming in as when I made my How We Met video. If you haven't seen that yet, you can click either here or here. I always forget or don't remember which side it is, but anyways, it's like either one of those. To give you guys a little bit of background why I'm answering these kind of questions. I've been living in Japan for over 2 years now. Not consistently, like 1 year, half a year I was back in Belgium, and now I've been here a little bit more than a year again. So yeah, I've experienced life quite a lot here, you could say. I've been sick here, I've moved here, I have lived with Japanese people here, I've went to school here and now work here, so you could say I have a lot of like experiences about life in Japan. Yeah, so the first question that I got is, what is the order of seasons in Japan? And this is actually a very funny question, since I had never really thought about that or expected to get this kind of question, but it's a good one. So the first season that starts at the beginning of the year in January is winter, you could say. So more or less January and February are the coldest months in Japan. If you're here in the Osaka Kansai region, it won't be that cold. It will only rarely go below 0. This year we only had like 2 days of those where it was like -1 degrees, and I was like, wow, it's damn cold, it's freezing. There's like kind of something here. And then March is still a winter month, you could say, although it depends on the year. Sometimes it's very spring-like, already getting warmer. Other years it's still very cold. And yeah, this year March was still a bit chilly. We had very pretty days and the sakura flowered quite early, but still there were also very cold days. And yeah, then at the end of March spring starts. So now we're in April and we're already in spring, but it's still damn cold. Like yeah, so pretty much like spring is end of April, end of March, then you have April, May still as well, although the temperatures are probably going to rise a bit in May. And then June, I would say, is already the start of summer. So June is also known as the month where you have a rainy season, or the first rainy season of the year. Gradually temperatures are rising, and because it's raining so much, the humidity will rise as well. So after June the weather will be quite uncomfortable probably. Then you have like summer, real full-on summer in July and August, sometimes even September as well completely. But we have this holiday in Japan called Obon, which is on the 15th of August, and it has to do with Shinto. There's some kind of like remembrance day also of the deceased. So yeah, that's a kind of special day that marks that holiday, but also it marks kind of the end of the hottest period of the year. After Obon, you can gradually expect the weather to cool down a little bit, and it does in most of the cases. And then fall, yeah, starts somewhere in the middle of October. Why am I sitting like this the entire time? Yeah, okay, so fall starts somewhere in October, end of October, middle October, depends on the year. And then we have real fall coming in November and December. So that's kind of how the seasons flow here in Japan, although it can be different quite a lot. And you have also the stormy season through May till October. You have lots of typhoons. Okay, and then the second question I got, or question I'm going to answer, is, which are your favorite romantic date spots, parks, restaurants, or places to hang out? That's a really good question actually. I have lately not been to a lot of places because of you know, Corona. But me and my boyfriend, we really like to take some trips or go out a lot, even though we like to stay inside as well. But most of the time, if we are hanging out in Osaka, I would say that Kitahama and Temmabashi are two really good date spots. It's a long river flowing through Osaka, and you have really many cute cafes and restaurants and just a little bit of park and city views there. Especially at night around Kitahama and Temmabashi, there's so many special light ups there, and there's a rose garden as well, so it's very romantic spots. I definitely recommend it. Another spot I would recommend is USJ, Universal Studios Japan. I lately have been wanting to go so much to USJ since it's already been since Halloween that I was there last time, so it's more than half a year, and I really love USJ. So I think it's also a great date spot. They have very cute food establishments. They have super good like attractions. Yeah, it's just the atmosphere in USJ is really great. I do recommend that if you go on a weekday. And then another question I got was, tell me something about the cultural shocks that you experienced while initially moving to Japan. I have some other videos about that. I'll link those also up here or here, I don't know. But I'll just quickly say like one big culture shock that I got. Japan is way more crowded than I expected it to be. Yeah, so when I first arrived in Japan 2 years ago, I arrived together with my boyfriend coming from Kansai International Airport, taking the train to where I'm living now. And yeah, I hadn't expected that. I knew Osaka was a big city, it was a massive city, and there are millions of people living in this area, but still I was not ready or hadn't anticipated the crowds and the feeling of how do you say that again? The feeling of claustrophobia almost creeping up on me, because like as I said, we're in a massive city here. Place is limited and ground is limited, so what they do is they build up. Everything is close together, and I've discussed this in other videos already, but I come from the countryside, so for me that was a very big change, even though I was studying in a big city in Belgium. But a big city in Belgium is just like a tiny city for Japan. So yeah, I was really shocked by just the sheer size of the city, the amount of people here, how crowded it feels with people and with buildings, and yeah, just not a lot of green space. That was some things that really shocked me and I hadn't been prepared for. Then another fun question I got was, how do you feel about the climate in Japan? And this links to my first question about the seasons in Japan. I feel pretty okay about the climate here in Japan, although I wish we could skip summer. I am not a fan of hot summers, hot and humid summers. I especially hate feeling sticky and sweaty and gross. And if you're in Japan living in summer, it's inevitable. You'll definitely feel that way in summer. It's just so hot, and I just feel very tired. I don't have any appetite. So if I were to say how I feel about the climate in Japan during summer, I would say I hate it. If I'm talking about the other three seasons, about winter, about spring and about fall, then I'm completely okay with it. Another commonly asked question about life in Japan is whether you have to learn the language, the Japanese language, or not. I can't give you a straight yes or no answer for that. I have to say it depends. It depends where you live and for what reason you're in Japan. If you're in Japan for travel or for a short time, then I would say no. And especially if you're living in a big city like Osaka or Tokyo or Fukuoka, those cities are more internationalized and you can get away somehow with English. and Japanese people are also generally very helpful, so you won't really have too much trouble getting around with English, I guess. But if you're planning to stay for a longer time in Japan, going to work here or live here for say 2, 3, even more years, then I definitely recommend you to try and learn at least the basics that can get you around daily life here. Because if you don't, then stuff like going to the doctor or talking to someone at the grocery store, placing your order at a restaurant, or filing taxes, for example, can be pretty complicated, since they don't really have English available services for that, especially if you live outside of Tokyo or Osaka. Another question, I got actually 2 questions, but I kind of combined them into one, is do you miss Belgian food, or do I get homesick? And these 2, I put them together because getting homesick is not something that happens a lot to me, or rather not that much at all, but maybe it does in the sense that I really miss the food from Belgium. I miss having my mashed potatoes, I miss having, like, how do you call that, like chicon or gratin. I miss having vol au vent. I miss having beef stew, Belgian fries, waffles, chocolate, and other foods that are available in Belgium but are not necessarily Belgian. Still in Japan, getting food from abroad or like from Europe, and especially my region, like the Burgundian region, you could say, from like France, Netherlands and Belgium and then Luxembourg, is pretty hard here. And even if you can find it, it will be very expensive, so I don't get to eat the foods from home that often. Yeah, so that's one thing that I really miss about home. Just for an example, this morning I really wished I could eat my favorite Grussley in the world from Kellogg's. It's like impossible to get here unless I have it sent from Belgium, but then I pay like for 20 bags of that cereal, you could say, if I were getting just one. So it's a bit ridiculous. So yeah, that's kind of how I get homesick. And if it's another type of homesickness, then I would say I get homesick for landscapes, because there's more space, more openness in Belgium, and that's something I miss here sometimes. So yeah, that's how I get homesick. And of course I miss my mother, who still lives in Belgium. And then the next question, I think we're at question number 6 by now, is do you plan on staying here for good? So here meaning in Japan. And I can definitely tell you no. It's a no, not because I hate living in Japan, not at all. It's no because I know that even though I like this country, this is not the best country for me to live in personally, because of my personality, because of the place where I grew up, because of my food preferences, for example, and like living preferences, you could say, and career aspirations. I like Japan really a lot, but it's not the place where I want to live with my family and build a house and like let my children go to school, for example. My plan for now is to stay here another couple years, maybe 2, maybe 3 years, and my dream is to move to like New Zealand, for example, or Canada, or another country in Europe like Switzerland or the Scandinavian countries. Like I would love that, or even Great Britain. It's beautiful. Yeah, Australia has crossed my mind as well. So while there are many countries that I'm interested in living in, I think the one that like calls out to me the most, and this is not something that's really recent, this has been something I've been literally talking about since I was like 8, 9 years old. I was always telling my grandma when I was little, "Grandma, I'm going to move to New Zealand when I'm grown up." And she would always look at me really weirdly like, "You sure? That's so far away." And yeah, my thoughts haven't really changed about that a lot. I still really feel attracted to New Zealand and like mesmerized by the beautiful landscapes, and by also the Maori. Anyways, Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but yeah, so my dream is to move to New Zealand, and I'm not sure yet which island, the North Island or the South Island. I know the North Island has more big cities, you could say, and a little bit warmer climate. And my boyfriend's company has branches in two cities in the Northern Island. So if we were ever to move there, and initially the chance might be very high that we end up in the North Island, but I know the South Island just has something about it. It has that like wilderness kind of feeling, more raw, more real. I don't know, I have never been to New Zealand, but I just feel so fascinated by it. And yeah, it has such an interesting history as well, so I definitely want to try moving there and build my own house in the future, just the way I like it, have green land surrounding me and nature close by, so I can start a really good life with my boyfriend. And if we have children in the future, which will probably happen, yeah, we want to we want to maybe let them go to school there. They have a great school system, because Japanese school systems are okay, they're good, but they're very tough on the students, and they're a little bit too uniform in my opinion. So yeah, no, not Japan. I won't be staying in Japan for it. Okay, so those were all the questions I had prepared for you guys today. If you like this video, then please leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you feel. How do you feel? Tell me how you feel about the climate in your country. Tell me a little bit about your country. I'll be very interested in reading that. Also, give this video a big thumbs up, because it really supports my channel. And if you don't mind, please kindly consider subscribing down below. Click the subscribe button, and I hope you guys will stick around for next video too. My boyfriend will be joining us for a very fun video and highly requested video again. So yeah, see you next time. Bye!